Hi everyone, my name is Samantha Plewis, and today we will be discussing the target population of homeless youth. Before I dive into the criteria of this assignment, I wanted to touch a little bit on the Stuart B. McKinney Homeless Assistance Act of 1987, as this has been a reoccurring policy that has popped up in my research during this assignment. In 1987, the McKinney Act was passed to provide for the educational needs of homeless children. Congress had allocated $500 million to states to address the following concerns, providing each child experiencing homelessness with the access to free, appropriate public education, removing residency requirements that are barriers to homeless children enrolling into school, and establishing a state coordinator to ensure that homeless children and youth have access to appropriate education. In 1990, the act was amended so that no barriers preventing homeless children and youth from enrolling in school would be tolerated. In reference to the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, there have actually been the most concrete in defining homeless youth. In Subtitle 7B of this act, homeless youth are defined as those individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. This includes youth and children who are either sharing housing or doubling up with other people, are living in a motel, hotel, trailer park, or camping grounds due to the lack of alternative adequate accommodations, are living in an emergency or transitional shelters, are abandoned in hospitals, have a primary nighttime residence that is public or private, and not ordinarily used as a regular place of sleeping, are living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, bus or train stations, or other similar settings, and or are migratory. Um, the Hearth Act expanded the age of homeless youth to be eligible for those who are 21 and younger. Previously, this was 18 or younger, but some have recognized that youth tend to be older than this. Some acts sometimes will even go as far as 25 and younger. Prevalence. Determining the exact number of homeless youth is a near impossible task. Uh, Researchers in an article that I had found for 2015 estimated that there are about 1.6 million youth who experience homelessness at any given time. More specifically speaking, researchers speculate that there are about 1.3 to 2.1 million youth who experience homelessness at any given time between the ages of 12 to 24. To put it in even smaller perspective, it is estimated that there is 1 in every 45 children who's experiencing homelessness and or poverty. It is estimated that there are about 4.2 million youth who experience homelessness each year. More specifically speaking, again, 700,000 of these youth are considered unaccompanied minors, those who are not a part of a family or accompanied by a parent or guardian. HUD kind of has a different perspective or a different definition of what homeless youth looks like. For HUD, homeless youth is considered those who are unaccompanied by a parent or guardian between the ages of 18 to 25 years. Unfortunately, this was the only source that I could find who would really depict a more specific demographic prevalence regarding homeless youth. Um, For those who are 18 or younger, HUD tends to typically associate those with families as a whole. So with the statistics that I had found for HUD, they reported that 25% of homeless youth are Hispanic or Latino, 49% were white, 33% were African American, 10% were considered multicultural or multiracial, 4% reported Native American, and then 5% reported either Asian and or Pacific Islander. They kind of group those two ethnicities together in that statistic. The impact of homelessness on children and youth development is far and wide. Several research articles have pointed out how rational decision-making, inhibition, planning, and reasoning have often been poorly developed in homeless youth, which consequently leads to higher risk in participating in other risky behaviors that could also impact a youth's overall quality of life. Additionally, homeless youth are often likely to frequently switch schools and or have poor attendance, which can lead to an increased risk um, for delayed or missed disability diagnosis, which will further increase the probability of poor academic outcomes. Roles of a school social worker working with homeless youth. I have found a lot of different roles for social workers working with homeless youth in a school setting. It is to be culturally competent. School social workers are expected to continue practicing cultural competence when working with children who are experiencing homelessness. A culturally competent social worker should be able to address the needs of children among various cultures. To be an effective communicator, school social workers must be able to effectively communicate with both students and families in identifying risks and barriers associated with the students experiencing homelessness and to discuss those options available to help the student overcome those identified barriers. To be an advocate, as a school social worker, you are expected to advocate for students, especially those with such barriers such as housing instability. Advocacy could be housing policy, educational policy, opportunities and programs to help homeless youth meet academic needs, and so on. As a broker, social workers with homeless youth should also be assisting in parents getting linked to outside resources that helps meet their basic needs, such as shelter, food, clothing, healthcare, etc., as well as other supportive services to help meet children's educational needs, which could be tutoring, counseling, school supplies, transportation. As a school social worker, you are also considered to be an educator. You should be educating parents, teachers, and or other school staff about the needs of homeless children and their parents as well. Many school social workers may also educate and advocate these same needs to the community and government agencies as well. An evaluator, this is a very important one. School social workers should be assessing and determining the effectiveness of services and programs that are presently already in place to ensure that current interventions meet those needs of homeless youth. Additionally, those school social workers are expected to be critical thinkers and assess the variety of intervention methods that are available and determine which approach may work best in accordance to a student and a person environment perspective. The role of a teacher and other staff working with homeless youth has a lot of different roles that I've come across in my research. The McKinney-Vento Assistance Act places the responsibility of school staff to all be actively searching for and collaborating and communicating with homeless families um, to inform them of their rights and provide services as needed. Another article suggests that school staff should be identifying and readjusting their own misconceptions about students and families who are experiencing housing instability, developing more accurate perspectives that help empower the teaching and learning process with homeless students, including awareness about homeless children and their families and their ongoing professional development, helping to create a safe, comfortable, and stable classroom environment and or culture, conducting basic assessments to help learn the knowledge, abilities, and needs of incoming students and to offset the potential negative effects of sudden departures. And then also just incorporating flexible methods to help homeless students obtain academic credit, whether it be partial credit or credit recovery programs to help fill in those gaps in coursework. Here are my references, and then I thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Thank you.